Charles Smith. I'm a student reporter with Invention Worldwide. I'm excited to introduce my guest, Risha Gupta, a fourth grader from California. Risha's most recent invention, P.E.A.C.E, won second place in fourth grade category at Invention U.S. Nationals 2022 competition. Her invention is designed to help the planet, and I'm excited to learn more about it. Welcome, Risha.
Hello, Charles. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about your invention?
So, P.E.A.C.E is an acronym. It stands for Portable, Easy, Automatic, Compost Efficient. It all started with a very common household problem that I experienced at my house as well, the proper disposal of kitchen waste. Kitchen waste basically means spoiled bread, eggshells, vegetable peels, anything that comes from nature and can rot. So we used to put all our kitchen waste in the normal trash can with all the other trash, but it attracted lots of bad odor and lots of fruit flies, and it just wasn't working out. So we tried putting our trash can outside. It helped with the smell, but every time we went outside, there were just so many flies. So I wondered, where does all of this even go? So I did a little research, and on Google, I found so many pictures of huge heaping landfills filled to the brim with food waste, and I was just, wow, that's a lot. So I wanted to find a way that we could prevent all this food waste from going to landfills. So I did research, and I found out about this method called composting. Composting is basically you take the nutrients from your food waste and you basically let them decompose into a healthy fertilizer for your garden. So basically what comes from nature, you can give back to nature. I thought this was a really good idea. So I took a survey from 10 families I know to find out how many people actually do compost. And I was surprised to find that most families said they thought it was too laborious. So they wanted to try, but they just didn't think they had the time. I was a little bit confused about this feedback, so I did more research on the topic of composting and found that it is rather laborious. It has to be stirred, it has to be given moisture, it has to be at the right temperature, which is between 90 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And it overall was a long process that could take from a few weeks to a few years. And I was just, wow, that's a long time. So I thought, what if I could combine all these different problems into one automaton that fixes them all and also gets it done in, say, a few weeks, not going up to like 2 or 3 years. So I started building P.E.A.C.E. It has 3 compartments. The top compartment has a grinder's blade. The top compartment has a grinder's blade. This cuts the food waste into little pieces. This actually helps the bacteria decompose the compost faster, so it will also help reduce the time. Once it's in small enough pieces, it slips through little holes in the bottom of the compartment into the second compartment. The second compartment has a churner, which is made of cardboard as of now, and it basically churns the food waste. This also helps the bacteria decompose it faster because when it's churned, the bacteria can reach all portions of the food waste. And at the bottom, in the bottom compartment, we have a motor. The motor turns this pipe, and when the pipe turns, so does the grinder and the churner. And the motor is powered by this rechargeable battery, which is charged by the solar panel at the top. Originally, I was thinking of making my invention with an electrical plug or a battery, but I thought if it's going to be completely eco-friendly, why not make it also powered green? So I bought this solar panel. It was one of the only things we had to buy for this project. And later we added this on and off switch and this thermo display, which basically shows the temperature inside the second compartment, because compost has to be at just the right temperature or it might overheat. So this is how it works. You press this button, the battery sends power to the motor spins it, everything spins along with it. So you basically just put your food waste in the top. When it's ready, you take this out, and then you can just pick up the basket in the second compartment and give it to your garden. The whole process takes about 2 to 3 weeks. Of course, this is just a prototype, so there are some improvements I would like to make, like in the state competition before the U.S. Nationals. We had some judges that would be looking at our invention. So I got some feedback from one of them, and they said, so these are both connected by one motor, but once all the food waste is already in the second compartment, why does this one have to keep on running? So I'm like, hey, yeah, that's right. This would just be useless once everything's down there. So I thought of having 2 separate motors. This one would run for, say, the first 15 minutes. This one would run at, say, 30-minute intervals for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And they would also be timed. I also wanted it to be kid-proof. So if a kid or a pet just stuck their hand down the machine while it was running, it wouldn't work until the lid is tightly fastened. So yeah, this is just a prototype. I would like to make it out of better materials. I used a jack-o'-lantern box for this because I didn't have anything better on hand. And I also did some research on Google and Google Patent Search to find out if my invention was original. Of course, there are thousands of inventions, hundreds of thousands maybe, on Google Patent Search, but out of those that I've checked so far, my invention is pretty much original.
So if you had 2 motors and you have the solar panel on top, would you need an additional solar panel that would operate 2 motors, or could you use just one?
I think, so this solar panel has a wire running down which connects to the battery. So it would actually be the battery that has to split the power. But I think if we, see, here is the red and the black wire. So once we click this, okay. But anyways, I think it would be able to split the power between both of the motors as long as it had enough power. It has to be out in the sunlight. So if it was like fully charged, let's say 75% charged, I think it would work. Or if we just replaced it for a stronger solar panel. But yes, I think one solar panel would be able to split the energy between both the motors.
Very cool. I know that I tried to compost once and we did not get very far because it was very hard to do. That's a great invention.
Yeah, we actually, to test our invention versus actual composters that you can find in the market, my family bought a tumbling composter, which is basically a big barrel on little stands, and you can roll it and the compost turns. But whenever you open it to put more compost, there's at least 50 fruit flies in there. I have no idea how they got in there. And it smells really bad, and there's liquid dripping down from it, and it just doesn't, it doesn't look good.
I know when we did composting that we couldn't have a bottom on it because we needed like worms to help decompose. Is there something that could hook onto that could have worms or something in it that would help it decompose even faster, or do you think that does the job for the worms?
So when I was brainstorming for ideas for the invention, I did look into vermicomposting, which is the official name for composting with worms. And it's basically, the worms are really good composters. They do it fast. They also poop and pee. So that also helps the compost, but I thought that was really weird and gross. So I just decided we would just bacteria compost because there's bacteria practically everywhere. If you maintain the correct temperature, only the bacteria that actually decomposes it would be able to survive in that temperature. And so my invention works by bacteria composting and also a little bit of mechanical composting, which is where you add your own factors in to help the composting. Originally I was thinking of like this worm cower, which would be like basically a pole with holes in it, and you could just keep on putting stuff in, and the worms would decompose it, and it would go out through the holes. But I realized they wouldn't actually go out through the holes because there's no space, and the worms might very well just run out through the holes. So I sort of gave up on that idea because worms have to be constantly fed new food waste, and say for like 2 weeks you just don't have any food waste, then your worms will die and you have to get new ones. And bacteria is just a lot more easy to handle.
I know you mentioned some problems or struggles that you had when making your invention, but what was the biggest struggle?
I think the hardest part was picking where the solar panel had to go, mainly because it took just so long to test, about a day, like in constant running. We had to test where we should put it. So originally I was thinking on putting it on the side because it couldn't just like stand up on there. So I was thinking of putting the solar panel on the side and the lid just being a normal lid, but it didn't get enough sunlight. It took about 9 hours to charge on the right side and about 10 on the left side. And then when it was on the top, it only took 6 hours. So we had to figure out a place to put it. So we eventually decided we just put it on top of the lid and securely fasten it so you could just use it as the lid. It was actually, it took a long time to test because you had to wait all those hours for it to charge. Then you have to test how long it would run. And it was a really long process. But eventually we figured out that it would charge more quickly and efficiently if it was kept on the top.
Okay. Do you have any other inventions?
Last year I made the MPJ, which is another acronym. I really like acronyms. It stands for multi-purpose jacket. It was basically a camping jacket. I decided to design it because my family went on a camping trip and we forgot to bring phone chargers, and it was like really dark the whole night. Their phones weren't working, and it was just really scary. There was no light and it was cold, and I was just like, wait, what if you had a jacket that had everything you needed just inbuilt, and then you could just put it on and you wouldn't forget anything? So I created the MPJ. It was going to have an umbrella as a top, but that took up too much weight. It had an inflatable bottle that basically, it's the bottle itself is not like a heavyweight metal thermos, but it'll still keep your water for you in like a very, very light pouch. So it's only the weight of the water that actually contributes. And there was a sunscreen and an inbuilt phone charger that runs through your sleeve, and a solar panel again to charge the phone charger. And yeah, and that one actually went up to nationals last year too. But I feel like I definitely enjoyed this year a lot more. We had more hands-on experience. We got to actually go to the Henry Ford, present our inventions among some of the greatest inventions of all time. Like last year, I didn't even know what was going on, what happened. Did the results come out yet or something like that? So yeah. But yeah, last year my invention also came up to the nationals. It didn't actually win an award there though. And personally, I think I preferred this invention.
What was your favorite part about going to the Henry Ford?
I was just like really, really curious about all the different inventions that were there, like the automobile, the Model T. There was even, I think, George Washington's cradle or something in this furniture department. And it was really, really cool. Not just like presenting your invention. I don't think it was just a competition. It was a chance. Like if you made an invention and you came this far, now you get to explore other people's inventions, be alongside with other student inventors, look at their inventions. we were there for 3 whole days and we still didn't get to see all of it. It was just that big. And I just couldn't stop looking at the Model T. It was like really, really fascinating how Henry Ford came up with that. And Greenfield Village was also really cool. And it was just really, really cool to be actually among some of the most important inventions in history.
I didn't really like looking at all the displays of inventions like the Model T and stuff.
Well, I mean, some of them were more interactive. Like there was, I think, a race car simulation or something that we tried. And there were some apps where you could, look at different, some interactive apps that would show you about the inventions. So it wasn't all displays, but, I think there was still a lot more to explore.
How did you get started inventing?
Started with my school STEAM fair project. I always liked inventing. I remember 3 years ago, I think it was like my first or second time inventing. I had no idea what to do. So I made like this really simple apple peeler. And it was like you put this apple on a stick and it would rotate and it would just keep on bumping into this knife and it would just peel it. That went nowhere, but it helped me understand the concept of inventing. You just had to keep on trying. Like sometimes the apple wasn't moving fast enough, so the blade was just like harmlessly scratching off it. Sometimes it was moving too fast, so the knife was actually cutting into the apple. Sometimes it was too far away, so it wasn't even touching. Sometimes the knife got stuck in the apple. So it's all about trial and error, trying to figure out what way works the best. And I think that's the real part of inventing, being able to solve something in a problem in the world with just a machine. And that feeling that, wow, I did it. I can help other people now with my invention. It's just really cool. Like someday, lots of people might actually be using it.
It is very cool to think, what can my invention do to help the world? It's very cool. What words of advice do you have for other student inventors?
I think the reason why student inventors are better than adult inventors is, sure, adults know more, they're really smart and everything like that, but they sort of stick to the rules. Like cars cannot fly. It is not possible. Kids are like, ooh, flying cars, cool. And so I think we can believe, okay, this is possible. It's really unlikely, but it is possible. We can still do it. And I think that little spark of creativity, it's more important than any amount of knowledge. You just need to know where to look for your next idea. Because say you know exactly how to build something, but you don't know what you're going to build, you can't build anything. If you know what you're going to build, then you can always figure out how to build it.
It's very good advice. Okay, one last question. Is there anything else you would like to say?
I would like to thank my family and my teachers and my principal. They were all really supportive of my invention. I remember my English teacher, who actually doesn't teach science or math, she was actually offering to help me go over what I had to say at the state level. There was a little question and answer with a judge. And I remember she was helping. My math teacher, she was really supportive. She actually had the whole class make the invention. And she's like, it better be good. So that actually got me really motivated. And then my mom, she was helping me brainstorm ideas. My dad helped me put it together, especially the parts with the wires and the blade. And my principal, she was really helpful too. So yeah, I think it's really nice how so many people want to encourage you and inspire you to make more things.
It's very cool. I love your invention.
Thank you.
On behalf of all of us at Invention Convention Worldwide, thank you, Risha, for joining me. Be sure to check out other student inventor interviews on our YouTube channel. Until next time.